Founding member Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso say that they are leaving regional bloc ECOWAS with immediate effect. All three countries are ruled by military regimes installed by coups over the last few years and have signed a mutual defence pact known as the Alliance of Sahel States back in September. Tensions with ECOWAS have been mounting over sanctions that the bloc brought in that the trio says are inhumane. Our regional correspondent, Sam Bradpiece, has been speaking about the implications of the breakup with a UN specialist on Mali.
Mr. Tine, thank you very much for being with us. I'd like to ask, were you surprised by this announcement on Sunday?
Non, pas du tout. Il y a eu, depuis qu'on a créé l'Alliance des États du Sahel,
No, not at all. Ever since the creation of the Alliance of Sahel States, I thought we were heading in this direction. The putschists made justifiable criticism of the sanctions. These are countries facing severe security crises and crises of democracy and governance. The responses of the international community, whether that is France, MINUSMA or ECOWAS, were not fit to deal with this.
Do you think ECOWAS can survive this?
I think ECOWAS could survive. It's not too late to make things right. ECOWAS realizes that all of the measures and the sanctions it enacted were inappropriate. And it's trying to solve this through diplomacy. And it should try to solve this through diplomacy. But we should also recognize that the soldiers who came into power by force don't have the legitimacy to take such serious decisions without consulting the people in one way or another, and without consulting the national assemblies. In reality, we're looking at an alliance of weak countries facing enormous problems. There's also the question of power in Africa. They're reflecting on how, now that they have power, how can they hold on to it? How can they avoid a transition to civilian rule? How can they ignore deadlines? How can they ignore criticism? How can they avoid human rights? That is part of their thinking. The world has been polarized since the war in Ukraine. It's obvious that their decision is proof of this polarization and the strengthened position of Russia in the Sahel. This decision is a massive blow to African unity. African unity begins with regional ties. The fact that ECOWAS, which is the largest regional bloc in Africa, has been hit by this division represents a major geopolitical earthquake in the Sahel today.
Is it possible that other West African countries could follow suit? I'm thinking notably about places like Guinea, which is also under a military regime, which is also being pressed to return to civilian rule.
It's true that Guinea could be tempted. But for me, Guinea isn't the biggest risk. Togo is. Togo has never had a change of political power. Togo has been serving as a link between ECOWAS and the Alliance of Sahel States. When they get together for discussions, it's in Togo. Togo is currently revising its constitution, possibly to allow the government to remain in power. For me, it's Togo that is more concerning than the military regime in Guinea. It's true that with everything going on, we don't know the potential consequences on ECOWAS more widely, or for relations between the different countries. But in reality, it looks like the beginning of the collapse of the regional bloc.